Hi, this is KV, and this is the moon phase report for Sagittarius. So, you guys are really, there's a really big pulled back element in your life, and it has been going on for about a year, and you have a lot, a couple more years of this. But there's already a really big, strong element of being pulled back and being more connecting with the mystery, and wanting to realizing like how much more you need meditation in your life and need yoga in your life and need to just shut down all the material superficial stuff. And so there's definitely going to be this thing where you're realizing that you're gaining more strength in the retreat. But with this full moon, there's also going to be some more elements of this that are about, like the happiness level in your life, and like you're going to want to like rebirth a joy that you used to have in the old days, or you'll just kind of remember like, how things used to be more carefree and, like having joy. Moon bears in the room eating right now. Having more joy in your life and carefree feelings, and right now you're really going to be geared to what you need to change or let go of in order to bring back that, just kind of carefree, not so high pressure life obligations, have to take care of this, not getting so worked up about all the things that are about life and the day-to-day and all that stuff. And there's also, you may even have something where you're wanting to delve back into maybe a creative endeavor that you kind of let go of because of like life and the demands and things you have to do. So there can be something where you're like, gosh, I just want to get my hands into things. I just want to like bring, I used to paint. Why don't I paint anymore? And, just there's going to be a really strong urge to kind of start over again in regards to something that was a creative based thing that just kind of made you feel carefree and joyful when you did it. So there's also going to be something with, friends might be an instigator in reminding you, hey, didn't you used to be a painter? Why don't you paint anymore? And it can be something where you're just, oh, I don't have time for that. And but something about this eclipse and, the next couple of months, you're just really going to be like, gosh, I need to do these things I used to love to do again. Why did I stop, So there's going to be something with that, like kind of rebirthing something like that with you. And, the communication thing is affecting everybody right now. So there can even be a shift with that where you're like, why can't I be an artist, or why do I, where's that thought process, where did that come from, where I've said like, no, you have to get a job, do an hourly, da da da, it's too hard to be an artist. So there can be even something that would be fantastic like that would spring into something even huger, because you're really like, I'm good at this and I love doing this. And, even if you just give a little bit of your time to it, who knows where it'll go. And because, you have Saturn in the 12th house, so that's very, it's very withdrawn and almost like feeling like you can feel like you are more imprisoned or limited by things, or you can't get your mind around why you can't be more carefree and joyful, and you're just feeling more serious and cautious and, more fearful of your future and not knowing if you're going to be able to sustain yourself, and not knowing if you can make this thing work that you want to do. And, but ultimately the whole point of it is that it's really just wanting you to pull back so much from the outer world and putting yourself out there so that you can really get clear on what your real gifts really are, and what you really do love to do. And, pulling away from like the competitive world of thinking, well, they're doing this, I have to do that, and I have to keep up with the Joneses kind of thing, but in a career sort of way. And like, well, I have to do that, and you're just going to drive yourself crazy right now. So it's really essential to pull back and find out what your thing is, what lights your heart up. And I would just say it's something from way back when, you know, that you used to just naturally do and you loved to do it, and you know, it just lights you up when you think about doing it. And I don't know why I'm getting this, but I'm hearing like shamanic studies. So, I mean, that of course could not be every single Sagittarian out there, but you know, maybe just something pulling you back into that, you know, connecting with spirit and seeing things more in a medicine way, you know, things happening in your life as, you know, a medicine that you need, a learning that you need, uh, trusting more, you know, what is happening in your life as a learning experience, and, you know, becoming more empowered by the things that you have, that have happened to you in your life. Let me see if, let me look at this for the first time. Yeah, okay, cool. So it could very well be, like absolutely very well be, that there's these wounds that are needing to, are memories of hurt from childhood, not getting enough love, not getting enough nurturing. There's even something, I don't know if it could be with the father, it's father or mother, but so there could be something like that that you're awakening to now, and maybe something that really just needs to leave your life memories right now. It can be some kind of memory that you're still holding on to, and it actually put you in a box and has kept you limited, and not thinking you can go do these kind of things. And you can, though, and this is an awesome full moon to really kind of let this stuff go, and really, you know, go back to kind of look at these areas of, you know, where you've been carrying these beliefs or following in the footsteps of others, or have these unhealed relationship things. I'm actually hearing mom more now, but I don't know why I heard father in the first place. But so some kind of, I mean, I guess it'll be either way, but one of them. But something back there, you might have to go back and, you know, investigate something that a parent did that, you know, left kind of a gaping hole in you, and you've tried to fill it by being strong over the years, and it just might really be now is the time that you need to address this and make peace with it. And there's also the element of forgiveness and compassion, so maybe forgiving them and forgiving yourself for maybe holding a grudge and not letting them be forgiven, because that's something too. Sometimes we have a hard time forgiving others, but it's more that we just can't forgive ourselves. You know, it's a whole like discombobulated thing that ends up happening when you get wounded or hurt, especially in the early. Oh, this is Coon Boy. You get to meet Coon Boy. But so yeah, so there's a lot of energy going down to that area, and it combines with you being so pulled back and contemplative and withdrawn, and maybe not even wanting to be out in the world too much, and not be seen by people, and not feeling like confident with who you are, and not sure of who you are, what you're doing. And so there can be some kind of unstable feelings right now, but you know, all of this, just that's where I think I was hearing the shamanic lifestyle, but you know, really kind of retreating into like journeying and meditating to really kind of find out what it is that is keeping you from being as happy, like truly happy to the core of who you are, which you're a Sagittarian, you can, but you have to understand too, like Sagittarian is like the sign of bipolar, you know, so you in your true nature you are this very happy-go-lucky, everything is good and it's all great kind of thing, but there's another side that is very melancholy and it can very easily fall into a depression that is really hard to get out of, more so than other signs even. So it's kind of this kind of contradiction thing with the Sagittarian happy-go-lucky, everything's great. There's also another sign that can tend to happen in a Sagittarian's life where they just get really depressed and really pulled back, and then they, you know, it's almost like then things kind of get even more messed up with them, because then they start doubting life, because they're like, wait, I'm supposed to be happy-go-lucky and carefree, and I'm so depressed, so something's wrong, and and then they can almost create more and more of this bad vibe kind of state that they don't want to be in. It's not fun at all for a Sagittarian to be on that down, because it's as extremely as high as they get is as extremely low as they can get. So just know, like, there's lots of there's lots of depth. Excuse me. I have like a burn in my throat right now, which maybe that means something to you. So maybe there's like a some kind of like that could be something with how you're speaking. Like there's some fiery Scorpio in the way you're speaking right now. Your words might be a lot more fierce than what they would normally be. Uh, but yeah, there's just a lot to examine with where you've come from, what you remember from the beginning days, what you're still carrying into your future days because of what you saw back then or experienced. I just got this thing too of like having to be like in charge. There may be something where you had to be in charge. Something had to have you be in charge way too soon in your life. And because that, you've just always had to be in charge now. And there's something that just wants to free that up and kind of bring the kid back into you and be giggling and carefree and playing, maybe adding more play into your life. That could definitely be through the creativity. So if you're wanting to take any classes or anything like that, totally do it. It could even work with the healing process of what this stuff that really needs to be let go of. And then we have Mercury going retrograde 2 days after this solar eclipse, and you're really, really, really going to be getting a bird's eye view into your mind and the thought processes and what you're saying, like behind the scenes. So that's kind of like what you're saying in your head, and even about other people, or the things that you're just saying that maybe you've trained yourself to not have them come out as audible, but they're still going out and broadcasting out into the world. So there could be something too with that, where you're just going to be seeing this stuff and being like, gosh, that's not really me, and that's not how I want to be seen, and that's not how I want to talk to people, and that doesn't go along with the happy-go-lucky, life is good, spiritual, way of being. So, but it is going to pull you back a lot. So if you do want to just retreat and not be around people, be okay with that. With Saturn in your 12th house, it does kind of tend to pull you back and make you think about things, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be a marvelous kind of time to really like delve into spirit and delve into meditation, so much so that all your next moves are just laid out there for you. Your next big creative thing that may end up supporting you could be that thing that comes through pulling back. So the more you can pull back, the better you are off. You better off you are right now. There also too is another side of it though, where there may be friends that are really like needing to fall away, and also you may be needing to grow closer with friends who have fallen away. That can be something too that is in with the happiness effect of not feeling so carefree, because there's just hasn't been time for friends, and you just miss cutting back and kicking it with friends, and maybe being more selective with your time and how you give it away, but making it like only being with people where you're really on the exact same vibration, where you really just get together with them and it's like family, and you can talk about all these esoteric, freaky kind of things, and not having to screen what you say around people. But so your soul could really be reaching out for something like that, really wanting to connect more in sisterhood, brotherhood, coming together in a group that really like feeds your soul and makes you feel like there's more value to life. Because right now there can be feelings that this isn't satisfying. But just understand, everything that is coming up is so powerful because of this eclipse, and it's just things that you need to clear out and let go of and kind of start over with, in bringing this more fun and, even like romantic feelings too, because it's like feeling frisky and in love and sensual and exploring the realms of sexuality and, that kind of stuff. But so it would be really good too if you could get on this call that we're having to kind of, ask to have some of this childhood stuff released from you, because it is a lot of work to find that stuff. We build up so many walls around it, and it just becomes this story that we tell over and over and over, and it's just time to stop seeing it as a negative or a victim thing and to really be empowered by it and really see how it had to be because of these other things in your life. But I'm also definitely hearing that maybe being so much in control or feeling like you need to be so in control is something that maybe stemmed from childhood, and it does need to be kind of wiped out to bring kind of the more like, giggling, carefree, not having to compete, not having to do so much, just kind of sitting back and trusting and, knowing like a kid that you're safe, not feeling like, you know, you have to do anything, you don't have to make anything happen, just, sitting outside and doing nothing and just being so joyful, just for that in your life. So that's going to be your full moon for you. Let me just look one more time because I didn't even hardly look at it. I just let the words come. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's why I said that. Okay, yeah. Let me go even more in that. This is definitely a time to delve into something creative that you have a really big gift at. And I love how, like, I say this stuff and I didn't even look at it, but it's so true. But there's a gift that you are really good at, and you haven't really given yourself the credit for it. Maybe it's not even time to exactly express it and put it out in the world yet, but you're just really good at it, and it's kind of your thing. And you should definitely be putting attention. Look, I have like shining light on my heart coming out at you. My heart is glowing for you. It's coming right at you. But just really like do some soul searching on it, because there is something you used to do probably even as a child and you love to do it. It could be something too like that something that you always give to people, something that you give freely to people, even if it's some kind of advice or something. So, but definitely look deeply into your past and really, even kind of journal on it and just go back and remember what you really loved doing and what really comes natural to you. And then from there, just start dreaming about how you could make a living of it if you're at that point of, maybe not feeling satisfied in the work atmosphere. Um, yeah, exactly. So if that is something where you're like, gosh, I just want to make a living doing this, and I just want to, make an impact in people's lives, and or whatever it is, because you have to. Um, oh yeah, and then yeah, and also too, like whatever does come, be you have the potential. I mean, it's over the next decade, but to make a lot of money, over the next like decade, you are in this perfect prime position to bring in a lot of money into your life from a creative gift kind of thing. So don't ever rush it, though. That's the thing I'm always trying to tell people. Don't rush it. You will know when the time is right. It could mean that you need a couple more years of study. It could mean that you need to apprentice under somebody. It could mean, whatever. But definitely right now, open to it. And really kind of go back there and remember what you love to do. And even if you think, oh, that's not a job, how can anybody have that as a job? Don't limit it like that. A lot of people now are doing things that most people out there that would think you could never make a living doing that, and they are. So it's what you believe in, and you're in a really big, you're in that wish time in your life too, when it's your wishes are even more powerful. Like it's even more powerful for you to really like put it out there what you really want. So yeah, I think that's enough for you. I'm almost at 20 minutes. I have to stop. So I will see you for the new moon, and I hope that you show up for this call, because I promise you it will change your life. Don't you think I look different already? I mean, this was just from 2 sessions of it. It was funny because the woman did say that it makes you more magnetic. It'll make you more beautiful in other people's eyes. I was like, uh-oh. But so yeah, I was like, that's kind of a selling point for people, right? Like your inner light, the true love that's in your heart just starts shining brighter when you have this work done. And it's, you get to do it from home, and you don't have to leave your house, and it's just magical. So I hope that you show up and are there with us. Okay, have a beautiful full moon. I will see you for the new moon on November 3rd. Um, solar eclipse new moon. Okay, all right. Okay, bye.